Assalamu alaikum guys. In this video we'll learn about Str Helper in Laravel that enables you to deal with strings professionally and in easy way and saves actually a lot of time. And this is the one of my favorite classes in Laravel. So let's start. To use the Str Helper class or string helper, we can say str here and using any method. So we can use str right under eliminate support, right? Or without initializing or importing the class, we can use directly here str helper, and here it takes the string because every method under this str class, for example str camel, right, any parameter or always the first parameter inside all methods is a string, right? So when you use helper here, we can say our string that we want to make operations on, right? So I will continue in the thinker and I will start with the first method, which is camel, right? So here my thinker, and here I will define a string var name, for example, right? And I will say here hello world. And to convert this string to camel case, we can say here str and use camel method and pass the string var name, as you can see here, like var name variable here. The second method, if you want to convert into snake case or underscores like that, we can say here str and snake, right? Even if the variable or this value is camel case like that, for example, if you can see, and convert it to snake again, it's added underscore between camel case letters. To convert it to kebab case or using dashes, we can say here kebab like that. As you can see, it converted to dashes. Let's add some words here, for example hello again, and let's convert this method again. As you can see, between spaces or camel cases it's added dashes, right? Sometimes that I face actually when I save URLs in database using this syntax. For example, URL inside database can be stored like that. For example, images slash avatar.png, and maybe the base URL like that equal to http, for example laravel.com, and it may be saved like that. And if we try to concatenate them together like that using URL dot, or sorry, base URL, to get the full URL of image, base URL dot URL, as you can see this double slash has come. How to get rid of them? We can say here str to get rid one of them. To get the right URL, we can say here str and replace first. It removes or replaces the first character in the string with the value you want, and I want to replace the slash here inside the URL, right, with empty inside URL. Save it. As you can see here now, URL, the first slash inside URL has been removed. Now we can concatenate it easily. We can say here base URL dot, and the link works correctly. Instead of that, if you want to remove the slash in the end of the base URL, we can say here replace last, right, like that, replace last. And I want to remove the last slash inside the base URL string, here base URL, and now we can concatenate it with URL with this one without manipulating it, and also the same result like that, right? The next method is if we have multiple spaces inside our string like that, for example name, and user may write something like that, hello world, right? And how can we get rid of these spaces except one space to be something like that, hello world? You may say we can use str replace, right, and we may say here replace spaces with nothing for name, but it removes all spaces in the name without keeping any spaces. So Laravel provide here str and the method called squish, and we can see here directly name, and it removes all spaces except one to be more meaningful. Let's try with another string. Add here, for example, test, squish it again, and it works perfectly, right? One of the good methods also something called mask. You may see in some verification process email like that. So here we may say ahm *** at mail.com, and he says we send the code to this backup email, as you can see here. So how can we do something like that using Str Helper? So email here, I will say email equal to ahmed at mail.com, right? And now I want to replace the half of name, right, without caring about the length of that. So here, how can I get the part before at? We have another method here called before. So we can see here before at and equal to str and before at, right, inside email, or sorry, before and before email using at. As you can see here, it returns the value before at symbol, and now I will count the length, or I will say here length, right? We can use str count and before at. It's not count, it's length, so we can say here length, and now it's length, and I will say here get the half of this number, and to avoid this value I will use floor method. So here length equal to here floor, right, and using this code again, copy paste it, divided by 2, right? Or if you want the greater value, you can use cl method, this method here, right, cl, it returns 3, but I will use floor again, so it returns 2, and I will say here from the index here, right, from the index number 2 and others, it will be masked. So we can say here final result equal to str and mask this string, the before at, this value here before at, and we can use any symbol. I will use asterisk here, and also I will say here the length, right, this value here. Let's see the result, length, and as you can see here it worked perfectly, right? So now let's mix them together, and I will say here email equal to here final result dot at, and also there is a method called str after email in the original one, this one here, this email after at, right? I will take this part and after at, and now it works perfectly. The last method here is plural method to convert words to plural from singular. So for example here I have a string called I have 3 posts, and to fix it we can say here str plural, and here's our string, right, post become posts. How can we make it dynamic, or how can use it in the real world? Imagine a user has posts count, right, and this post count, for example, is 1 or 2. Okay, so here's our formula or our main string. So we can say here our main string without manipulating anything. I will say you have here posts count post word, and to convert it or to make it dynamic I will say here str plural, and here is our main string, and in the second parameter it takes the count of value, right, of how many posts. So I will say here posts count. Now we have 2 posts. What if I set this post count from 2 to 1, and I will use this method again? Now s has been removed, right? Let's also fix it inside the main string. Now you have 1 post, and let's use it again here. Also you have 1 post and it works correctly. This plural method here uses polarize or polarizer class. So if we back here and we say str plural and string and count, and if we go to this plural method here, it uses polarizer class, which supports other 5 languages. It supports English, Spanish, Turkish, and some other languages here. And if you noticed, the default language is English, right? So how can we change the default language of this polarizer class? Go to any service provider or create your own, like that. I will implement it inside app service provider, right? Inside app providers here, and inside app service providers, let's remove it, and I will say for Polarizer class use language, and pass the language of any of these 5 languages: English, Spanish, French, Turkish, and other language. I can't remember it. I think it's mentioned inside Laravel documentation. Language that's supported by this class, yeah, French, Northern Bokmal, Portuguese, Spanish, and Turkish plus English, right? And the default, as you can see, is English, so I will set it to Turkish because I know Turkish. And now let's try to use this value again. Tinker, I must add semicolon here, open Tinker again, clear, and we can say book in Turkish, it means kitab, right? And to convert this word from singular to plural in Turkish, we can add ler to the word in the end of that, and I can see here str plural and convert here book in Turkish, and as you can see it works correctly. Here is some quick tips and tricks about Str Helper and Laravel. If you found it useful, support me by clicking on like, share, and subscribe. See you in next videos.